Late night bites with friends? Already hard to beat. That first too hot bite of fries you couldn't wait for, followed by ice cold Pepsi. Now that hits different. Suddenly, the energy kicks back in, the night goes longer, and the laughs don't stop. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
The Colonel's cooked up a new $10 bucket of the day just for you. Monday, 10 wings for $10. Tuesday, 8-piece fried chicken for $10. Wednesday, 8 tenders for $10. Thursday, 10 wings for $10. Friday, 24 nuggets for... Ooh, you guessed it, didn't you? $10. The $10 bucket of the day deal. Every weekday. Only at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation vary while supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax extra.
Before we get started, I just want to ask everyone to check out our members section over on Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can support Supernatural Japan and get lots of bonus content. You get early access and ad-free versions of the main show, as well as the Japan Ghost Stories podcast, the Spicy Wasabi podcast, and video versions of interviews on the show. And if you become a member, you help support the show and help keep the content coming. You can check out the link in the show notes, as well as on supernaturaljapan.com. Welcome to Supernatural Japan, the podcast where we look at the dark side of Japan's history. We follow the trails of legendary yokai and terrifying ghosts, venturing to locations said to be haunted and shrouded in mystery. In this episode of the podcast, I'm joined by regular guest Phillip Jackson. We recorded this on the last night of Obon in Japan. Obon is a time of year when families across Japan welcome their ancestral spirits for a few days and nights. This event happens in August and is considered by many to be the time of year when the veil between the afterlife and our world is at its thinnest. Many families in Japan return to their hometowns to welcome the spirits of their departed ancestors. Some families visit their family members' graves to accompany them on their way home. Offerings are left at home for their ancestors, such as food and drink. In many Western cultures, autumn is, specifically October, is considered spooky season. But not in Japan. Summer is the time of year when the spirits return and ghost stories known as kaidan are told. Summer in Japan is oppressively hot and humid, and telling terrifying ghost stories is a traditional way to send a chilling shiver up someone's spine, a natural way to cool down friends and family members. Now, everyone, before I get started, I need to give an apology. In last week's episode, I was joined by Hibagon researcher Kyle Brink. He gave his evening to share some fantastic stories and updates on his hunt for Japan's Bigfoot. Now, several days after uploading the show, I listened to the episode and realized that during the introduction, I referred to Kyle as Todd Brink several times, and I'm very sorry to Kyle for this error. See, I went to university in Canada many, many years ago with someone named Todd Brink, and that name just kept popping into my mind. Again, Kyle, if you're listening, I apologize. Kyle Brink, the man who wrote the book Hibagon, Japan's Bigfoot. Go check that out on Amazon. I'll put another link in the show notes. Now, folks, it's time for the rest of the show. Get ready for a chilling summer wrap-up with Phillip Jackson and me. Folks, welcome back to another episode of the Supernatural Japan podcast. And I am here with Phillip Jackson. Phillip, good to see you again.
Yeah, it's getting quite a regular meeting, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And one thing we talked about when we recorded our episode this summer in Osaka, I asked Phillip if he would mind becoming a more regular member of the podcast. So we're going to try, once a month or so to get Phillip on to just talk about stories and all kinds of things that are supernatural in Japan and elsewhere, because I always get a lot of positive feedback when you're on an episode. So thank you for taking the time to join us, Phillip.
Yeah, no problems. Always fun.
Yeah. So we are recording this on the evening of August 16th, and this will go up next week. It's one thing that we had chatted about. I've got kind of a release schedule. This episode will come out on the 25th. But you had mentioned that this is the last evening of Obon. Is that not correct?
Yeah, the 16th, August the 16th, is when the spirits go back to the spirit world. So I think, I'm sure we've talked about it before, but I think you've mentioned on a recent episode about Obon, this festival in Japan. Because I know you've said before that August is the spooky month.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the spooky month in Japan, right? So it's October is spooky season in kind of Western culture, but for Japan, it's August, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really hot, and there's this tradition of telling spooky stories to give you the chills. But also, we've got the Obon festival, which is it's a Buddhist festival that goes back hundreds of years, and it's kind of a festival of remembrance, where families remember their past ancestors, and the spirits of those ancestors come back to the family home to spend some time with their family. And it really is a family reunion for many people, because here in Kyoto, I've just seen so many cars coming into Kyoto with license plate numbers from different parts of Japan.
Okay, yeah.
And it's grown up children with families of their own, and they're coming back to spend a few days with their family and celebrate past ancestors. But it starts on August the 7th, so it's quite a long festival. And on August the 7th, that's when they ring the welcoming bell. And that's done at a place called Gokudo Chinoji Temple in Kyoto.
Okay.
And that bell is to send a message to the spirits to say, hey, it's time to come back and see your family that still remember you. And that temple is significant because it's going back to old time Kyoto. It's on the border of, the eastern borders of Kyoto City, which now is all built upon. So where that temple is, to the east of that was all burial ground.
Oh, okay.
Toribeno burial ground, which it was open air burials. So people would come and dump bodies. And you had to be in the sort of like the aristocratical circles to get a proper burial in those times. So that temple was on the edge of the boundary between the spirit world and the living world. So that's why they used that temple. But that bell was rung on the 7th of August. And then between the 13th and the 15th of August is the time when the spirits are in the family homes. And then on the 16th, that's when they return to the spirit world. But we have a festival in Kyoto, which is only in Kyoto, the Gozan Okuribi, which is the sending off fires on the 5 mountains.
And you were just there, weren't you? You were just there before we started recording.
Yeah, I mean, this year I watched it on the TV, but in years past, I've been out and watched out in the city before. But what they do, there's sets of fires, bonfires. So these small bonfires over a large part of the mountain, maybe between sort of 70 or more meters in length, these bonfires, and they make up symbols and kanji. So one of the symbols is the funagata, a boat, and that's the boat that is to symbolize carrying the spirits back to the spirit world. And another set of bonfires make up the kanji myoho, which means the truth teachings of Buddhism.
Oh, okay.
And there's 2 large dai, not dai as in the English word dai, but dai in the Japanese kanji. So there's 2 of those which represent big or great. And then the final set of bonfires makes the shape of what's called the torigata, which is a torii gate. And then the boat is carrying the spirits, and then the spirit boat goes through the torii gate back to the spirit world. And there's other things going on, like small boats and lanterns put on rivers and ponds to signify the spirits going off in that way. But it's interesting that I watched it on the TV this year, and the program started an hour before they started lighting the fires, and it showed the whole process of the community groups collecting the firewood, starting maybe 3 months ago, collecting everything.
Oh, okay.
Climbing up the mountain, taking it all up the mountain. And one thing that you do realize is that nearly all the people involved in these community groups, they're not young people.
Okay.
And
they're all pensioners.
Yeah. Young people move away from the city, or, life is getting busier and they haven't got time for these community groups. And also, there's a financial situation, because the areas where these community groups are in, where the fires are burnt in the mountains, they're, let's say, well-to-do areas of Kyoto. So if you want to live in that area, you need to be financially in that group to be able to afford to live in there. Okay. And usually if you live in that area, you automatically get pulled into the community group that's involved in setting up the bonfires. So, tourists come to see it. Everybody in Kyoto likes to see it. Then it's on the TV.
It's a really big deal, right?
Yeah. But it's all done by volunteers.
Oh, wow. Okay,
and most of these volunteers are, retirement age and over. So there is this fear also that at some point in the future, it might be difficult to carry on with the festival, which would be very sad.
It would be. It's an iconic. Yeah. It's an iconic symbol in Japan. I mean, oh, sorry, I've got an alarm that just went off. Sounds like a duck. But I mean, it is one of those things when you look at, if you just do a quick Google search for like festivals Kyoto, you'd see these fires on the mountain, and it's just something, for years and years. I never had the opportunity to go see it because I honestly didn't want to fight the crowds and travel such a far distance because I lived in Kobe. And I didn't think when I'm like, oh, you just went to see them. I'm like, no, you wouldn't be back to record a podcast if you had.
But a few years ago, I was very lucky in one of the areas where I used to live in Kyoto. There was, it was close to Momiyama Castle where we've been before. Yeah. And you could walk and you could see out towards the western mountains of Kyoto. Okay. So I could see 3 of the 5 fires just by looking out across Kyoto, and local people would come out, and it was nice. It was, everybody would have a drink in their hand, and it was a nice sort of relaxed festival atmosphere. It wasn't crowded. It was just people from those few streets who knew that from that location you could see across the city. Okay. So for a few years I had that situation where I didn't have to join the crowds, but maybe one year I'll go down to the river and in the center and see what the atmosphere is like down there. Because on the TV it looks nice. Nice,
very cool. Wow, neat. So the summer is coming to an end, and I'm sure it doesn't really feel like that with the heat, in many ways, but it's coming to the end. So we've gathered here this evening to share some different stories and things. You've got some new stories to share about Kyoto and the history of the kind of darker side of Kyoto, I believe, and I've got some superstitions about insects in Japan because I've just always been a big fan of bugs and entomology. I'm sitting here with a toy quagata right here, a little stag beetle. Stag beetle, yeah. Yeah, so that's from a gashapon machine. So it's so I don't know, maybe if I could share I'll share a few of these. I don't have it won't probably take long, but I'll share some of my superstitions with you, and then you can share with me. And I think you have some input already. Before we started recording, I mentioned something and you've got some definite value to add to that. So the first thing I came across, I jotted down some notes, and basically what I wrote here is that in summer, insects are deeply intertwined in Japan, not just as part of the natural landscape, but through centuries of folklore. So Shinto spiritualism and Buddhist philosophy, they're all connected. Summer is seen as a time when the boundary between the living and the spirit world thins, which is something you guys are dealing with right now, the Obon time, and insects are often viewed as messengers, omens, and manifestations of the dead. So here are a few notable cultural beliefs and Japanese superstitions with regards to insects in summer. And the first one is about fireflies, known as hotaru, and the souls of the fallen. So fireflies light up the Japanese countryside in early summer. According to long-standing folklore, glowing fireflies are the wandering souls, or hitodama, of deceased humans, particularly fallen samurai or tragic lovers. So the superstition, seeing a sudden swarm of fireflies is often believed to mean spirits are passing through or gathering. It's considered disrespectful to needlessly harm or crush a firefly, as doing so might bring bad fortune or disturb a soul on its way to the afterlife. So that's the first thing. And I suppose the fact that I believe, from what I've heard with climate change, and also with regards to just habitat loss and fragmentation and fracturing and all of this, fireflies are becoming a much more rare thing in Japan now anyway. So if you decide to make the effort to kill one, you deserve whatever bad mojo you get. Now, the interesting thing is here, the clash of the clans. So firefly lore is closely tied to one of Japan's most famous historical conflicts, the 12th century, and I may say this wrong, is it Genpei War?
That's right, Genpei War. Yeah.
Okay, between the rival Minamoto, Genji, and Taira, which is the Heike, am I saying that right? Samurai clans?
Yeah.
Okay, so two of the most common firefly species are literally named after these warlords. The Genji Hotaru, which is the larger, brighter form of the firefly, and the Heike Hotaru, which is smaller and dimmer. And legend says that on the riverbanks of the Uji, in early summer, swarms of these two species fight fiercely in midair in what is called the Hotaru Kasen, or the Firefly Battle, reviving the violent historical battles of their former lives, human lives. And I got that little bit of information from the University of Oregon Entomology Department's website. And I thought that was super duper cool. Especially, number one, I love fireflies. And number two, that's your neck of the woods. So,
just down the road, the road.
Yeah. So you were saying something about a stone, and so this is something that you do know of, which I'm not surprised.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier, and when you mentioned it, it sparked a memory that there's been two big battles at Uji River over the years, long time ago, and by the river there is a large stone with an inscription upon it, and it does refer to the fireflies over the river being the souls of the warriors that were killed in the Uji battles.
Oh wow! Okay.
And also Uji Botanical Gardens every year, they hold an evening event where you can go and see the fireflies in the gardens.
Okay, nice. And fireflies in Japan are a little bit different than you might find them in, say, for example, Canada, where I'm from. In Canada, they're not necessarily near rivers and sources of water. My older brother, who lives in a nice kind of suburban residential area, I can remember many years ago, maybe 2017 or so was the first time my own children had an incredible magical experience where his backyard one night for a couple of nights came alive with thousands of fireflies, and we could catch them in our hands. And when I was a little kid, I'd run around with a jar and catch them in the jar and then have the jar lit up. But they're a little bit more fragile and delicate in Japan and tend to be along rivers and fresh water.
Yeah.
And it's also a sign that a river ecosystem is extremely clean. The water is very clean and healthy, because that's the only way that these species can live.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for you. So we're going to talk about cicadas now, which right here, where I am in Xi'an, China at the moment, like it is the last week or so, especially 2 weeks, have been extremely noisy and loud with the sound of cicadas. Reminds me very much so of Japan. So cicadas, or semi, they in Japanese culture, the life cycle of a cicada is the ultimate symbol for shoujo muto, impermanence, spending as many as 3 to 7 years underground. And actually, some of them can spend up to 17 years underground in the dark, only to live for 1 to 2 weeks in the summer sun. So their song is urgent and fleeting. So the first thing is the ukigara, which is the cicada shell. So because a cicada leaves its amber-colored shell behind on tree bark while flying away into a new life, the shell is seen as an emblem of spiritual evolution, casting off physical illness, or escaping a bad luck streak. Some people collect pristine empty shells as personalized talismans to bring luck during transitions like changing jobs or entering a new school year. So that sounds kind of old-fashioned, or maybe countryside-ish. I know kids love to collect these things. I know that. I learned that in Japan.
Yeah.
And I used to actually, when I was teaching in Japan, we'd go to this big park in Akashi, and I'd collect a whole bunch of them, and I'd hang them from my lanyard, which was often just to the delight of the students and the abject horror of my Japanese colleagues.
The perfect lunch combo. That first bite of your favorite sub, followed by ice-cold Pepsi. Add a couple of friends, and now that's next level. Suddenly, the laughs get louder, the stories keep flowing, and the food tastes better. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today. The perfect lunch combo. That first bite of your favorite sub, followed by ice-cold Pepsi. Add a couple of friends, and now that's next level. Suddenly, the laughs get louder, the stories keep flowing, and the food tastes better. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
The best summer memories are made outside, and LL Bean has the clothing and gear you need to make these memories. Their effortless styles are created for summer spent outside with family and friends. Like hand-sewn boat shoes, coastal cotton sweaters, rugged polos, and, of course, the iconic Boatin' Tote, which has been made right here in Maine since 1944. LL Bean. Be an outsider. Visit llbean.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.
Yeah. Okay, now we got another one here about the cicada bomb, the semi-bakudan. So I know you've experienced this over the years. You know when you see a cicada and it looks like it's dead on the ground, but when you get near it, it suddenly explodes into life and terrifies you?
It explodes into life and
So apparently this is called the semi-bakudan, and this phenomena, the cicada bomb, comes from the fact that dying cicadas lose their ability to flip themselves over when their legs cramp up. So they lie on their backs, appearing dead, but when a passerby steps close, the motion triggers a final terrifying burst of buzzing and flapping wings. So you know that absolute death throw, the throes of death are just, and it is really startling. So there's a superstition holds that if a zombie cicada startles you into falling or tripping, so you fall or trip after being startled, it has passed on its lingering bad summer energy to you. So there you go.
Have you ever experienced catching a cicada and it squirts its liquids?
I have not only had a cicada pee on me that way, and because they do pee, I've had them literally pee on me many times while they're up in the trees. And that's one thing that happens during cicada season, because they're drinking the nectar. They definitely love certain types of trees. Mm-hmm. For example, sakura trees, the cherry blossom trees. They really love that because the nectar is very sweet. Peach trees, It's a lot of the fruit trees. And that liquid just comes right through them. And there's been definitely times during, and I was taught this by kids, the Japanese kids, like primary school kids I taught, or like, that's what happens. And there's been definitely a few times where I've been walking under a tree in Japan in the summer, and you just feel drops of liquid hitting your head. And I'm bald, pretty bald, so I really feel it. And then I look up, and I'm just below a tree, and it's a beautiful sunny day with not a cloud in the sky. So I realized, okay, that rain did not come from the clouds. But you know what? I'll take that any day, because when I lived in Malaysia a few years ago, I've had monkeys pee on me, and that's like, I can remember that happening, getting all over my forehead, down my face, all on my phone. And I look up, and there was a large brown monkey sitting in the tree above me, scratching its butt, looking off into space. So yeah. Okay. One more. I just want to share the dragonflies or tombo, because there's another connection to samurai there. So dragonflies are deeply tied to Japanese national identity, so much that an ancient poetic name for the island of Japan was Akitsushima, meaning the Dragonfly Islands. So, during the Sengoku Warring States period, samurai favored the dragonfly almost above all other insects, because dragonflies only fly straight forward or hover, never flying backward. They came to symbolize courage, relentless forward momentum, and the refusal to retreat in the face of death. And samurai frequently adorned their helmets, kabuto, sword guards, tsuba, and armor with dragonfly motifs to grant them bravery in battle. Yep. And one more, the red dragonfly, the akatombo, appears in massive swarms in late summer, coinciding with Obon, the August festival when ancestral spirits visit the world of the living, which is ending tonight. Red dragonflies are believed to act as vehicles or red lanterns guiding the spirits home. Swatting or killing a dragonfly in late summer is said to leave an ancestor's spirit lost in the ether, causing family discord and bad harvests. So there we go.
I do have one bug related.
Okay, yeah, please share.
Little story. It's called Mushi no Shirase.
Okay.
So in the West we have, you might get a feeling about, you might hear something and you say, a little bird told me.
Yeah.
Here it's a bug told me, but whereas in the West a little bird told me is usually something positive or a little bit of happy news.
Yeah.
Mushi no Shirase is usually something negative, a premonition or a foreboding. And the idea is that the bug has actually got inside your body. It's not like the bird whispering in your ear. The bug is inside your body.
Okay.
So it's usually a negative thing if you say, I heard about something, or I feel I've got a gut feeling about something. Mushi no Shirase. And the bug is inside you. So
like, Philip, a little birdie told me you got a promotion at work, or Philip, a little bug told me you have gastroenteritis.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow. I did not know that.
There's something about spiders as well.
Oh yeah. I've got that here. I just wanted, for the sake of time, I've got something about spiders here. Well, I think there's a lot of things about summer, or about spiders, I should say. I've got stuff. Of course, there's the Jorogumo, the Binding Bride. Let's see. There's the summer heat, and so the Jorogumon, which is an actual type of spider, and these are the giant ones that you will find around Japan. They live right up until, or right through. They just get bigger and bigger, and through late fall, they have massive webs. They're orb weaver spiders, so they're actually, although venomous, because for those of you listening, I'll geek out now, all spiders are venomous, but not all spiders have venom and that can harm you. But they're very large, so they're just very intimidating looking. So summer heat and humidity bring out the giant spiders called the Joro spider. This inspired the famous Edo period legend of the Jorogumon, which I've done an episode of the podcast on before. A giant 400-year-old spider that transforms into a breathtakingly beautiful woman to seduce unsuspecting men, web them up, and consume them. Finding a large spider near water or under the eaves of a home late at night is still playfully met with caution because of this tale. So there's still people, they kind of worry that, there could be a little connection there. And where is this? Here's an omen. Here's one morning. So about morning webs, spider webs. The superstition around morning versus night, around the time of day.
I think this is the one. Yeah, okay. This is the one I knew about. So I'll let you carry on with that one.
Okay, so morning webs dew in the sunlight. Hold on. Morning webs dew in the sunlight. I'm having trouble reading this. So if you find dew in a morning web, that indicates clear weather ahead, making a morning spider an omen of a bright day and prospective wealth. At night, however, spiders spin webs in the dark, which historically mirrored the behavior of thieves stealthily breaking into paper-walled Japanese houses. So I guess that basically means seeing a web in the morning can be good luck. Seeing one at night can be bad luck.
I came across, I think it's the same concept, but the one I found was slightly different, and it said that if you see a spider come into your house in the morning, it's bringing good tidings and visitors, so you should leave it be.
Okay.
If you see a spider come into your house in the evening, it's bringing badness, so you should kill it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that's kind of, I guess, in a way, that's that one I just showed.
When
just
to kill
seeing the webs. Yeah. Okay, so you've got some tales, some new tales from Kyoto, especially the ominous gate of 100 beatings or whatever the heck that was that you've talked about before, which is just terrifying sounding. But yeah,
we spoke about the gate of 100 beatings before.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We did. Yes.
Yeah. On I'm not sure which episode it was, but this was back around.
I think you were just mentioning that you had recently gone to that area to check out another site. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah. So just to recap on that, the gate of 100 beatings is the old prison gate from the Fushimi Momoyama Castle, and if you had a light sentence, if you was not a serious crime, the prison was full, so you'd just get 100 lashes outside the gate, 100 beatings.
That's all right.
Sometimes turned into but sometimes it was fatal. When the castle was dismantled in the early 1600s, I think it was about 1626, although I could be wrong on that. Certain parts of the castle were moved to different places, other buildings in Kyoto, and this prison gate was moved to another temple in near Nijo Castle in further north in Kyoto. And it was said that the moans and the cries of the restless spirits were heard on the other side of the gate. And a ceremony was done, and the story was that the gate was then locked, nailed shut until present day to stop the restless spirits coming through. So I did go recently and check, and I can confirm that the gate is not nailed shut. So the restless spirits have been released. So that answered that question. But also just around the corner from that area, maybe about a 5-minute walk, is another place called the Otage no Matsubara, which basically is the banquet in Pine Grove. And this is a story that goes back to the Heian era in about the 10th century.
Okay.
I think the story was actually in the late 870s, 9th century. And at that time, the Imperial Palace was in a slightly different location to where it is now. It was a little bit southwest to where the present one is. And so you had the palace and the palace grounds, and within the palace grounds, to the west of the actual Imperial Palace, the royal chambers, was Otage no Matsubara, which was this area of land about 250 meters in length, about 100 meters wide, and there was pine trees, and it was used for banquets, picnics, things like that. But it was an empty piece of land. So, but the story is, on a bright moonlit night during the Heian period in the 9th century, 3 young court women were walking through the palace grounds by the pine grove known as Otagi no Matsubara, and there was an encounter. A handsome young man emerges from the dark trees. He approaches a group of 3 women, and he talks to the women, and one of them decides to go with him for a walk in the pine grove, and he was described as a very handsome man, handsome man. And when they don't return after a while, the other 2 women decide to go back to the pine grove to look for their friend. But they find no trace of the man or their friend, but instead only the women's severed hands and feet lie scattered on the ground.
Oh, geez. Okay.
It's then
I didn't see it go in that direction. They're going to see something else, but okay.
Yeah. It was then decided that the handsome man was in fact a demon in disguise, and the demon had devoured the young woman. So this area then got a reputation as being a haunted spot, and because of this and similar stories were recorded in the area, it was widely feared as a demonic masho, a curse or a haunted place. And then it became well known for a place of what's called kimodameshi, which is a test of courage.
Okay.
And so it's been recorded in, that young samurai would go walking through there or ride their horses through there as a test of courage. Like, I'm not afraid of the demon of Otagi no Matsubara. But I think that's kind of a story of its age. Things that we could explain as the years go by in those days. If there was no explanation, usually it would be tagged as demonic or something like that. So this handsome young man who apparently never showed himself as a demon was probably just a serial killer.
Yeah.
Because to tempt a young lady into the dark shadows of the pine groves, and then her friends go back, and all that's left is just her severed hands and feet.
The skeptical side of us would probably go serial killer.
It's like in old times, if there was a disease, they might build a shrine, to try and stop the disease. Whereas today we would use we would recognize that it's a disease and we use medicines. And I think in the same with any of these kinds of stories, if there's an unknown factor, it would become labeled with something that
I can remember that in the episode where we talked about, I think in the 100th episode of Supernatural Japan, where you talked about the Goryo worship and how when a lot of these very important people would die, their spirits were often blamed for pestilence, disease, famine, all of these things. So like obviously like the crops aren't growing, build a shrine, pray to try to appease that evil spirit. Or if a lot of people are getting sick, there's a cholera outbreak or something. It's got to be that evil spirit. There's so many stories like that, isn't there, in Japanese? And those are the kind of spirit. That's that kind of cross-cultural thing that often when you look at folklore and historical, the history and folklore, where across cultures there are similar things that happen. People would blame disease and pestilence and all that on angry spirits and angry gods and these different things. So you must do something to appease them.
I mean, if you think about in Europe, the witch trials in Europe. Something would happen, or somebody might die, or somebody use some herbal remedy for some kind of illness, and somebody who maybe had a grievance against the woman that had supplied that herbal remedy, or just it was so easy when you read about it for somebody who had a grievance against somebody to accuse them of witchcraft. And to the point, then there'd be a trial and you'd have family members who had been coerced into speaking up against the accused witch, and you couldn't think of anything happening like that nowadays, could you?
No. Well, but I mean, yeah, exactly. Wow, that's interesting. I just want to share one more thing. I just realized as we kind of jump around here a bit, I've got one more little bit of bugginess for you. I've got where did it go? Oh no, I seem to have deleted it from my notes. Oh no. Well, I had something about the kabuto, the rhinoceros beetle, but it had to do with its strength and it being lucky for kids to catch them because they are so strong. The kabutomushi are the rhinoceros beetles, which can lift many times their own weight and are incredibly strong, armored insects. So both traditionally samurai would have admired them because of their strength, but also in modern days, children. It was considered lucky for children to capture them. And we know that raising beetles and catching beetles is definitely a traditional summer pastime in Japan. Any daiso or hyakuen shop will be filled with beetle catching paraphernalia leading up to the summer months.
I mean, you mentioned it was surprising that I saw a sign in Utsubo Park in Osaka, the park where we've chatted before, and they were putting these signs up saying, do not take anything from the park. Don't take home any plants. Don't take home any bugs. And it had a picture of the cicada shell. Yeah. But traditionally, that's a children's summer pastime, collecting the cicada shells and taking them home.
And catching live cicadas and taking them home. Well, and the thing is too, like when it comes to cicadas, scientifically speaking, there's definitely no shortage of them. So if some kids want to take them home, I think that's fine. Why not? What I want to do now, Philip, people out there listening, we're going to wrap up this main episode on the main feed here. And Philip and I are going to take a little walk over to the member section on Patreon and do a little bit more talking, a little bit more supernatural banter over there. But before we do go, and folks, you can always go and join us over there if you would like. Before we do go, Philip, of course, I want to give you a chance to share about some of the things you're doing and where people can find you. Because one thing, folks, you hear how knowledgeable Philip is about Kyoto. If you are interested in meeting up with him sometime to do a tour, he can arrange that. But where can people find you online? Not literally right now. I don't want to dox you.
A few places. Probably the easiest place is the website, because the walking tours are called Hidden Paths Walking Historical Kyoto, and the website is hiddenpathskyoto.com. Okay. X, which I think is P. Jackson Music, and the Blue Sky.
Something similar.
The Blue Sky handle, which is
I'll put a link in the show notes for sure.
Yeah. But if you type into Google Hidden Paths Walking Historical Kyoto, then all the links will come up on there.
Nice.
And there's also, as you say, about the walks, not just daytime walks, but also evening walks, which are getting a little bit more spooky.
Yeah, exactly. I'm holding up a book here, folks, which I picked up this summer while I was in Japan. Paranormal Kansai, Mysteries and Unexplained Stories from West Japan by Phillip Jackson. So Philip also has numerous books, which are great for any spooky history lover, books about Japan, which you could buy on Amazon. I'll put a link to that as well. So that's good stuff. And hopefully I'll have a book to share with you at some point next year too. I'm working on it. It's coming along. The stories are coming in. But that's it, folks, for this main episode. Again, Philip's going to join me for an episode over on Patreon, the member section. So if you would like, go check that out. The links will be in the show notes and all that. And that's it. Thank you for listening to Supernatural Japan. If you enjoyed the show, you can help us grow by sharing the podcast with a friend, colleague, family member, or someone who likes Japan spooky history. Or better, both of them. You can also follow the show and give us a 5-star review, a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I will read it on the show. Now remember, if you become a member over on Patreon, you'll have access to so many more spooky shows and content. After Phillip and I recorded this episode, we recorded an episode of the Spicy Wasabi podcast all about a paranormal influencer whose death has led some to speculate that is because of the supernatural things she was getting herself tangled in. So go listen to that. We also talked about urban exploring in Japan, haunted houses in England, and the creepiest places we've ever explored ourselves in Japan. And that episode is available over in the members section on Patreon. Now, I also want to give a big shout out to Michael and Game Tech Match for supporting the podcast on Patreon. Thank you so much for being so awesome and helping Supernatural Japan grow. Now, of course, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Supernatural Japan for loads of photos, news, and video content. You can also find me over on Facebook, Blue Sky, and X. All the links are in the show notes and at supernaturaljapan.com. And everyone, that's it. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, everyone. If it wasn't for you all, I wouldn't be making this show. So stay spooky and stay awesome, everyone.
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.
I'm not giving up. I am selling the building.
The final season of FX's The Bear.
The restaurant is flooded.
Everything's either going to be okay.
No, stop.
Or not.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned, but we have each other.
FX's The Bear, the final season. All episodes now streaming on Disney+.